What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In a previous episode, I talked about all of the Generation 4 Pokemon in Pokemon Go that do have a pre-evolution from Generation 1 to Generation 3. And that honestly got me thinking, how many shiny variants are going to be available once Generation 4 hits? And the answer is 8, so we're going to be talking about all of the models, talking about which one is going to be my favorite. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the list. Coming in at the number 8 spot is Frostlass with a max CP of 1,857. Frostlass is a dual type of Ice and Ghost. So if you do have a shiny Snorunt, this is going to be something that will be available to you. If you are a little bit curious about the difference between the sprites, it's basically going to be that ribbon just being a different color. Personally, I'm not a big fan of when that happens with Pokemon. I like to see the actual model completely change, not just necessarily a piece of clothing. But anyways, for Snorunt, just make sure that your shiny Snorunt is a female to be able to get a Frostlass. I cannot say that enough. That way you don't accidentally end up with a Gallade. But hey, then again, I don't even have a Snorunt to begin with, so if you do have one and have held on to it, congrats to you. That's definitely going to be something really cool to have once Generation 4 hits. In at the number 7 spot, we have a fantastic sprite to take a look at, and that is Dusknoir with a max CP of 2,046. Dusknoir is a pure ghost type Pokemon. So Dusknoir evolves from Dusclops. Dusclops and Duskull, not gonna lie, have an incredible sprite, at least in my opinion. I do love the red, but it is going to be a stark contrast once it evolves into Dusknoir. If you are curious what the regular form is gonna look like, even it has a really cool sprite. Not gonna lie, this is something that around Halloween time, you can bet I'm gonna be putting in as many gems as I possibly can. It definitely looks a little bit like a jack-o'-lantern on the front of it. Something very cool to have, like I said, around the Halloween time. You can bet that this is going to be one of my favorites to see. In at the number 6 spot, we have a purple bird, and that is Honchkrow with a max CP of 2,566. Honchkrow is a dual type of dark and flying. So this is going to be a Pokemon that is available because of Murkrow having a shiny available in the game. This did come a little bit by surprise once Murkrow was introduced into the game with a shiny. That's something that caught a lot of people off guard. I know that I personally did not expect it, but then when the wheels started clicking, you know, with Generation 4 coming along, I thought, wait a minute, this is another opportunity to go ahead and have access to that Generation 4 shiny sprite. Honchkrow looks so much different from its normal version. Basically, just simply changing that blue to a purple/pink is going to be a major contrast. As you can see, it will still maintain that red, so it's just going to be a cool model for sure. Plus, it's going to be fairly useful from that dark typing, so a Pokemon that I'm definitely excited to see in the game. Moving up the list, we have Roserade with a max CP of 2,783. Roserade is a dual type of grass and poison. Roserade is going to be a fantastic Pokemon from that poison typing. But because Roselia got a shiny sprite added into the game from the past events, then this is going to be a model once again that is available. The main differences between them is going to be the flowers on the hand being a different color. But that's actually what we saw with Roselia as well, so it shouldn't be too foreign of a concept. But like I said, I'm personally very excited to see Roserade in it as well, because it is going to be a great Pokemon from that poison typing. At least from the grass, it's going to have a little bit more competition than you might expect. There's so many great grass types coming in with Generation 4. Up next is Leafeon with a max CP of 2,849. Leafeon is a pure grass type Pokemon. So this is going to be the first evolution from Generation 4 that we talk about. So this is going to be available because of the Community Day Eevee getting the shiny sprite. So all you have to do is basically hold on to it until Generation 4 gets put into place, and then you can evolve to a Leafeon as well as a Glaceon, which we will talk about in just a couple of moments. But anyways, a little bit of a funny story is that I've accidentally been using the shiny sprite as just kind of the regular Leafeon sprite. And the reason for that is because the differences really aren't that big of a deal. It's basically going to be just a little bit darker for the shiny compared to just the normal. So this is going to be something that, like I said, isn't going to look too much different. I'm not a huge fan when this happens, but either way, Leafeon's going to be a very cool Pokemon. I'm personally a big fan of the evolution, so to be able to have another shiny added in is something that I'm very excited about. Let's go ahead and get into the second and final evolution from Generation 4. And that is Glaceon with a max AP of 2,866. Glaceon is a pure Ice-type Pokemon. This is a Pokemon that I am extremely excited to see in the game. If you are a little bit curious of the differences, it's basically going to lighten up a ton, and I think it looks fantastic with this shiny variant. But not only that, anytime a shiny variant is also going to be a fairly useful Pokemon, I'm completely on board with having it. In this case, Glaceon could theoretically be the number 2 Ice-type attacker in the game once Generation 4 gets here. So something, once again, I am very excited to see. Up next we have Magmortar with a max AP of 2,980. Magmortar is a pure Fire-type Pokemon. So if you did manage to hatch a shiny Magby, this is going to be a blessing in disguise for you. Although Magmar does look pretty cool, I would like to say that shiny Magmortar looks fantastic. If you are curious about the difference between the two sprites, it's basically going to soften its palette quite a bit. It's not going to be as harsh of a red, it's not going to have a yellow contrast, it's going to soften up and blend a little bit more together. But I do think it looks sick. It does look a little bit girly, but at the same time, it looks fantastic. I personally think it's going to be a cool model, and the fact that it's also going to be fairly useful is yet another positive factor. Up next, we have on the list the highest CP available with a shiny variant for Generation 4, and that is Togekiss, max CP of 3,171. Togekiss is a dual type of fairy and flying type. So Togekiss looks fantastic. It's not going to be too much of a difference from its regular form, but if you do have the luck of hatching a shiny Togepi and then evolving it into a Togetic, you're basically going to be ready to go. I definitely have enough candy to do so, so if I were able to get a shiny, it would be something that I was very excited about, because once again, this is going to be a Pokemon that's going to be fairly useful from a fairy typing, something that we desperately need to see to be able to counter against the dragons. So before we end the video, I want to go ahead and pull up my two favorite out of this list, and that is Dusknoir and Magmortar. So I've already talked a little bit about both of them, but like I said, Dusknoir, fantastic. It's not very often that I really do enjoy a Pokemon that isn't the best of its typing. I tend to focus a lot on the numbers, but when there is a model that completely stands out, I give it some major attention, and Dusknoir has it. It looks fantastic even from just its normal model. It's such a cool looking Pokemon and something that I would be very excited to have. Then you have Magmortar on the other side. It's very rare that I like the softening of the palette, but I think that by contrasting the colors downward, it tends to make the black stick out a little bit more and makes it look, in my mind, a little bit more menacing. But not just like that direct menacing, but something that would kind of catch you off guard, but something that you definitely need to respect. And now a word from our sponsors. Today's video is sponsored by Pokédex Trader. This is a web-based app that allows you to buy and sell Pokemon at trades. But even more than that, it allows you to organize trades within your local area. You can even list Pokemon for free. Currently, the site is brand new and they are looking for new users, so make sure that you check out the link in the description if you are interested.
Hit me like a tidal wave, triggered by the aftershock. Hit me like a tidal